Better. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably better. Now you can hear me. Sorry, I completely forgot I need a microphone. Yep, I'm good at my job. All right, so welcome. I'm Dan, your friendly fishmonger. We do this every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 Eastern for those that might be a little mountain challenged. We're here to talk about aquarium fish. And we are going to do a giveaway in a little bit. Before that, I'm going to give the shipping report and tell you about some upcoming speaking engagements I have at some fish clubs and conventions. If you're out and about, maybe I'll be able to meet you in person. All right. Now that you can hear me, let's get to the shipping report. So last time I reported to you, we were at 98.92% success rate. Shipping, we are now at 98.93%. So we have improved by 1/100th of a percent. We are 7/100ths of a percent away from our goal, which is 99% success shipping to our customers. And what success means is the fish arrive alive and in good shape. So that's the number we're tracking here. So only 1.7, no less than that. I'm not going to do the math now. Only a few orders have problems. We ship out a lot of orders, and just barely over 1% arrive not in good shape. The rest do well. And we want to get to that 1% or less mark. So that's what we're working for. And I want to thank everybody that's given us things that help us do that, giving us information, such as when you get a box of fish from us, if you take the temperature of the water in the fish bag when it first arrives, that's really helpful, especially as we're getting super hot here. We're shipping fish to Las Vegas, we're shipping fish to Texas and Florida and Arizona. Sometimes it's very, very hot. And so getting that information is helpful. Lets us know, hey, we need to add another cold pack, or different size cold pack, or manage things just slightly differently to get the fish to you in good shape. So we really appreciate that. A lot of you give us that kind of feedback. Let us know how the order came in. Let us know information that allows us to improve. So I just want to thank you. I think you guys are a big part of this success, a big part of this effort. Without the information, without the feedback, we wouldn't know what we were doing. So thank you so much. All right. We have a giveaway tonight, which is for the speediest little snails ever. I mean, they're just average speed snails, but the red onion Nerite snail. I like this because it's colorful. This is a downright pretty snail. And there's quite a bit of variety, so no two look exactly alike. And they do a great job eating algae. That is the wondrous thing about the snail. Not only that, but they do not reproduce in fresh water, not to fruition anyhow. So if you want a snail to help manage algae and eat maybe some leftover food that the fish missed and stuff like that, kind of clean up around, but you don't want to have a massive snail population, you don't want to wake up one morning and be like, geez, there's 5,000 snails in here, then the Nerite snails are a great option because they will not reproduce in a freshwater aquarium. Now, the one thing about them, let's see if we can find it, is this. They lay eggs, these little white eggs, and they will lay them in fresh water, but they won't mature. So what happens is these little white eggs, in nature, these would hatch, and the little larvae inside them would be washed out to the ocean, to salt water. They would join the plankton cloud there, and that's where they would develop. Once they were at a certain stage of development, they would get back to the fresher water. Sometimes it's pure fresh. Sometimes it's an estuary that can be a little, kind of brackish of different variations. And so these eggs won't develop into adults. You'll never see them when they hatch or anything like that. They're tiny little slivers when they first hatch. They'll just disappear. But the eggs will be in your aquarium. So you will see these little white spots when they lay their eggs. Here's one kind of in the process almost, it looks like. So be aware of that. That's something you should know before you decide if a Nerite snail is right for you. And that goes for a lot of the Nerite snails do this. But besides that, if you don't mind having some eggs laid around your aquarium, then I think they're a great option for you. Let's see, I'm trying to go back to show just the snails and not the eggs. Let's see, can I do this? One more? There we are. So anyway, if you win this giveaway, we'll send you a few of these snails, brighten up your tank, give you a little cleanup help, and maybe lay some eggs for you. If you would like to possibly win these, I have a very original hashtag. Hashtag snail. Hashtag SNAIL. If you enter that in the chat, then you will automatically be entered to win the giveaway, which we will do in a little bit here. In the meantime, I want to tell you about some cool fish that we have available here at Dan's Fish. A couple of them I'm very, very excited about. There's one that I've never had for sale before, so I'm excited to show it to you. It's a killifish, and then I'll talk about some speaking engagements. So the first thing we're going to do is we do have some Anier. I know folks have been waiting for those. We've been feeding them a few times a day, got them nice and fat and sassy. And this is my first time with this fish. This is the new red-tailed penguin tetra. And in $19.99, I honestly think that that's a very good price. The group seems to be doing really well. And forgive the picture, it was taken, I believe, with a cell phone. But it doesn't show the red on the tail. The red on the tail is quite deep. But that gives you an idea of that fish. Really excited to finally have my favorite rice fish of all time back in stock. It's the Miyuki rice fish, the white Miyuki. And the reason it's my favorite is because the dorsal surfaces on these guys glow like neon. So in an aquarium, they look great, especially if you have them at eye level or slightly lower. If they're up high, you won't see the glowing top. But if they're eye level or below, they look nice. But in a pond or a summer tub or whatever, that's when they truly shine. You look at them from the top when they're in like a little pond, and they absolutely are radiant. Here from the side, you can see it though. You can still see that glow across the top. Here as well, you can see the glow on both of them. And that one's, wow, that camera got a little overexposed. So the whole fish is glowing there. But anyway, it's been a long time since we've had these available. My previous supplier went out of business, and I just haven't been able to get them for a while. But there was a breeder down in Cheyenne, Wyoming, just a couple towns down the freeway from me, who bred a bunch, and I was able to get them. They brought them up to the barbecue. And come, I believe, Friday, it will be, they will have been in our care for 2 weeks, and so we'll be able to ship them out on Monday to you. So, neat little fish that I've been wanting for a long time. Long time. Here's another one. Oh, the Montezuma swordtails. We finally got a snapshot of them. These have the longest sword in proportion to the body of any swordtail, and then that nice kind of rounded fin. Really pretty fish. Nice wild type swordtail. And then Pygmea. I think we showed this before, but if not, this is the pygmy rainbow. Been trying to get these for years, was finally able to get some in. And this is the one, there's two I'm really excited about showing you. So, Corydoras pantanalensis, this is a juvenile. This is what you'll be getting. But they also, when they start maturing, they start getting some really nice color. This one's just starting, he's got a ways to go. They get a neat reticulated pattern with a bunch of glowing iridescence on them. So we're able to get a picture of one just starting to color in. But this is what you would be getting. Don't expect color yet. You'll be getting kind of a brown fish, but give us some time and it should turn really pretty. And then this one right here, I'm very excited about. We've had these for a little while, but we haven't had a good picture. Johnny was able to snap this shot, and that kind of shows their personality, their amazing finnage, gives you an idea of the color. A little richer reds on them, I would say, but in person, but it gives you a nice idea with that kind of flame white outline. These little spike-tail paradise fish are truly amazing little creatures. And they're not nearly as aggressive as your, standard, what is it, a percularis is the standard paradise fish that is frequently in the hobby. So that's, and then here's the killifish I meant to tell you about. We have a Moema species. These are very large annual killifish. They get 4 inches plus, the males. These are from Rio Ataya. We've had them for a while. They're eating really well. They'll eat live food, they'll eat frozen food, they'll eat vibrobites, they'll eat flakes. Whatever you feed them, dry, prepared, or fresh or frozen, they'll eat. Not one that we have very often. Oh shoot, it looks like did they sell out? It says stock level 0. They must have just sold out. Yeah. The previous screen shows that we have 3 available. Unless, let me refresh this. Maybe that's an error. No, they sold out. Oh, well, if you missed out, I will try again. They're a hard one to get though. But I think anyone that gets them is going to absolutely love them. So that's weird. It says, there it is. Okay, now it shows that it's sold out. Disappeared. So anyway, those are some of the highlights that we have available here at Dance Fish. The killifish, I think, are spectacular. If you were lucky enough to get those killifish, I think you're going to be absolutely thrilled with them. Tough as nails, super healthy, been eating everything and doing really well for us. All right, with that, I did try to get some more. We recently got another batch of those Moema in, but they aren't doing as well. So I honestly don't think we'll be able to sell those. So you got the few that we have. Okay, let's go and show you our speaking schedule. So we will be in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend, speaking on June 20th at their meeting. So if you want to come see me, I'd love to meet you in person. So we're in, how do you say that? Smyrna, Georgia, at the Windy City Community Center. So check out that club's website if you want details. I'll post it here. So many of you I never get to meet in person. We chat online, but I don't know your face. I just know your avatar. And I don't get a chance to meet a lot of you and shake your hand and say hi. So I would love to meet you. If you're convenient to Atlanta, Georgia, and can make it down this weekend on July 20th, then man, I'd love to do that. When we meet, tell me your name, but also tell me your username on YouTube. Otherwise, I probably won't know who you are. Then after that, the following weekend, we'll be speaking at the 2024 American Cichlid Association Convention. And I am in good company. Look at this list. This is amazing. This is one of my speakers, my favorite speakers of all time is Lawrence Kent. Great guy. Sam Borstein here is an actual biologist. Jeremy Bosch is a well-known hobbyist. He's kept and bred many, many species of, he likes killifish, he likes catfish, and he likes cichlids. So he and I get along famously. Then we have someone from the Department of Ichthyology at, I forget, what is it, the American, I knew this before, American Museum of Natural History. So this is like, that lady's gonna blow me out of the water. That's like a serious professional. But that's going to be cool. Ad Connings, who introduced a lot of the African Rift Lake cichlids to the hobby back in the day when they first coming in, kind of helped streamline supply chains, described a lot of them, and has published a lot of books on them. Ad Connings is a true authority on Rift Lake cichlids if you're into that. Ron Coleman is actually the professor of my granddaughter, who's a granddaughter. Goddaughter is what I call her. Granddaughter. I might be bald, but I'm not that old. At the university, CSU Sacramento, and it'll be great to see him. Gabe Posada. I don't know Gabe as well. I know that he works at Watley Discus and took over when Jack got out of the company. And I don't know much more about Gabe other than he's been doing discus for a long, long time. And Rich Bauer. I don't know Rich at all, so I'm looking forward to meeting Rich as well. But anyway, the fact that Lawrence Kent, Sam Borstein, Ad Connings, and Melanie, how do you say that last name? Stiasny are going to be there. Like, I'm a lucky dude. I'm going to be rich and rubbing elbows with some real fish authorities, which is cool. And then on September 14th, I will be speaking at the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society up there, well, in Seattle of all places. So if you would like to meet me and you're convenient to Seattle, I would like to meet you as well. Let's see if I can, I don't know if it'll let me post this link with this many characters, but I'll try. Yeah, I think that worked. And then the Seattle Club is here. So that's where I'm going to be for the next couple months at least. So if you are close to any of those areas and can make it over, I would sure love to meet you. Okay. With that, let's see here. We've done the shipping report. We've done the giveaway. I've showed you some cool new fish. I think it's time to just nerd out and talk about fish. Someone's laughing at me mixing up granddaughter with goddaughter. I mean, she's not technically my goddaughter, but that's like the easiest way to refer to her and her family, so people understand the relationship. We're not blood family, but we might as well be. We're very close. Swaybird, I couldn't be here for the 4th recap. Can you summarize how the event went? That's what I meant to do. Thank you. Enough hot dogs, some new hires, maybe? Yeah, Swaybird, thanks for mentioning that, because I did mean to do that. I was going to do that last week. So last week, we do have a new employee moving here. And last Tuesday night, I helped them unload their U-Haul. And I didn't stretch beforehand. And I lifted some things wrong. And I destroyed my back. You know, temporarily at least. So that's why I couldn't stream last Wednesday. The pain was not good. I've been to physical therapy and we're working on it and it's getting a lot better. I'm not really looking forward to hopping on an airplane this weekend and flying to Georgia. I want to go to Georgia and meet everyone, but the airplane ride itself, that's not comfortable in the best situation. With your back hurting, it's going to be not the funnest. But it's improved a lot. Now it's like stiff and I can tell that it's there, but it's not raging pain anymore. Like those spasms that make you wonder if you're just going to fall to the floor. That hasn't happened for 2 days. So I'm on the mend. But anyway, so asking about some new hires maybe. Yeah, there's someone coming into town and should be here hopefully pretty soon. They've working on, you know, packing up the house and getting over. That was the first load of, it's going to take several loads. So that's why I didn't stream last week when I meant to talk about the 4th of July barbecue, but I have nothing but good things to say about it. One thing that happened last year was I was so busy doing the cooking that I didn't have a ton of time to come in and walk around and just sit down and hang out with people. And so this time we had some help. And so I was able to spend a lot more time just socializing with people in the fish warehouse or down by the river. We also rented a big canopy so we could have some shade. We put it down on the riverbank down by the warehouse here. And you could hang out there. You could come up and check out the warehouse. And I think that helped a lot, just to have a nice shady spot outside. We could kind of hang out and eat and stuff. So separating the food from the warehouse itself was kind of nice. Not that I minded people eating the warehouse, but it's just having more space and not having the warehouse cluttered up with the food and the utensils and the chairs for people to sit and all that to eat. I think made an improvement. So those are kind of the big improvements we made. The company that came was great. It was such a pleasure to meet everybody. Met some people that I've never met in person before, so that was awesome. And then one thing that I'm very excited about is that we met several fish breeders, a few of which have decent-sized fish rooms, and we talked some business and set some people up to breed some fish for us. So hopefully we can get even more hobbyist bred and raised aquarium fish in here at Dan's Fish. That's what we want to do. That's our favorite. Well, our favorite way to have fish is just to breed them here. Like that's great. Then the fish doesn't have to travel at all. Our second favorite way, but we don't have the space or time or money right now to really do that. And I don't think we've crunched the numbers on that business model, and I don't think it makes sense financially at this time, at least, for us to breed a large number of species. Well, we dabble here and there. The second favorite way to get fish is from hobbyists, because then they don't go through the process of being imported into the United States. That whole process can be stressful on the fish. So it's really nice to get them domestically bred and raised. And hobbyists tend to treat their fish like pets, right? And take really good care of them. In most instances, I would say generally better than the industry at large does. So that's our second favorite way to get the fish. So I'm very excited about that, about meeting some folks that hopefully can breed some fish for us regularly. Lisa the Wolf, do they definitely snail their way out of the tank if it doesn't have a lid? Yeah, I think they could. I definitely see them above the waterline frequently. Sometimes they hang out on the bottom of the lid. So I think that Nerite snails could crawl out. That's a good point, Lisa the Wolf. Our giveaway tonight is for some red onion Nerite snails. And I didn't mention when I was talking about them crawling out. I didn't think about that, but that's good to know. Yeah, if you don't have a lid on the tank, it's likely they would crawl up and over and they could end up on the floor. So good point. I don't think that's always the case. And if there was, you know, I don't know, 2-3 inch gap between if you have a rimless tank and the water level's 2-3 inches below the top of it, that might be okay. Anyone here, have you kept Nerite snails in a lidless aquarium? And if so, did they get out? Or what was your experience? All my aquariums have lids, so I've never run into that. All right. It looks like Kelly Foreman is back. Kelly, good to see you again. Welcome back. Dan, we've got to get the team doing yoga. Yeah. So this is the third time this has happened over the since 2011. So it doesn't happen often, but what happens is I get busy and I get lax on my exercise and my stretching and stuff. And I can tell when that happens. You know, I've gained a few pounds in the last few months. And in tandem with that is my lower back just gets a little weak. And all that combined, when I get a little busy and neglect that stuff, yeah, that's when I'm in danger. So I know what to do to prevent it, and usually it's fine. Sometimes I just don't do what I should do. Natalie B, I'm so excited. I'm celebrating my first time successfully hatching about 24 panda Cory fry. They're so cute and tiny, just eyes and a tail and a little orange belly. I can't wait to make more. Hey, that's excellent, Natalie. Congratulations. That's super fun. Yeah, panda Corys, that's one of the best little Cory fish out there. I think that there's a reason they're so popular. Just, they don't get too big and they have that nice stark black and white. Yeah, so good for you. I'm very excited. That's awesome. Golazo. Hey, how are your green sailfin mollies? Green sailfin mollies. So I've actually been looking for green sailfin mollies for a long time. The supplier that used to carry them hasn't for many, many months. We've been able to get some of the more fancy green sailfins. They're quite pricey. And we do have a few in right now. I don't think they're listed though. Let me see. But it's not because there's anything wrong with them health-wise. It's because, yeah, so we have kind of these more, the fancy ones. They're real pricey though. And we have a couple that are doing well, but we just haven't, we don't have them for sale because they don't look fancy like the other ones did. They don't have that kind of special glitz to them. And so I don't want to charge that much for a molly for someone. Let's see, was I showing that? Hopefully I was showing that. It's these guys. But see how they kind of have this neat orange on them? In person, these were pretty neat fish. But the ones that we have left, I don't think are fancy enough looking to charge that price. So we still got a couple laying around. The silver sailfins are doing awesome. We have some gold sailfins that they might be okay now. Let me see. They were struggling for a little while there. Yeah, still waiting on those to get a little better. These guys. Hopefully within a week or two, they might be ready to list. But they went through some issues. They were doing great, and then something happened. This is the normal green sailfin molly, and I just have not been able to find them for a long time. Not from the breeder that, or the supplier that I have been getting them from that does a good job. So, am I misunderstanding the question though? Did we talk about a green sailfin before? I don't know. Why are we always yelling? Thank you for listing the how to make the box orange comment. As I scroll through the chat, I just look for these bright orange boxes. That's how I manage the chat. If it's not bright and orange, I don't generally read it. And seeing that reminds me, I need to thank my moderators for being here and moderating. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Tropical Treasures in Wyoming. Glad the Mukis are doing great. I got more coming for you. Hey, yay. Yeah, they're doing awesome. They look good. Jody P, crossing my fingers that you get a good group of pygmy cories. I really like the Habrosus and Astatus. Cute little fish. Yeah, we're working on it. So the supplier that we've been getting them from has done a good job traditionally. The last couple times, they just haven't done very well. So we're trying a new supplier, and we'll see how they do. But hopefully we can get them for you. Histatus and Habrosus, dry right now. Not able to find any of those at this time. I've been looking. Okay. Any idea when some more fire eels will be around? I don't sell fire eels, Nathan, but we do have the dwarf red-tail eel. And no, whenever the breeder has any available, I buy them out instantly. So kind of when I get them in, you know that that's when they're available because I got them. But that's, yeah, that's as much as I can say. It's sporadic. They don't produce a ton of them. And so anytime they have them, I get them. I wish I could tell you, yeah, next month they have a whole bunch. We won't know. Nate Tazad grabbed 2 pairs of amazing Santa Maria Endlers from you a few months ago. Good news is they're doing great. Minor problem is they are doubling every 4 to 6 weeks, 40 plus now. Please send help. In the form of like what, a little predator fish? Glad to hear they're doing well. Yeah, I love the Santa Maria Endler. That's one of my passions. That's a fish that at one point in the recent past, I spent a couple years developing a line of those, and I thought it was worth it. I think they're awesome. Big Steve's Glass Boxes. We need you to come speak at our club in Maryland. If you talk to your speaker coordinator, Big Steve, we're finally to the point now where we have grown enough that we have enough employees and crew members and such that I'm starting to say yes to clubs to go speak to them. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. So if you would let your club speaker coordinator know, feel free to have them send me an email and I'll respond. I love speaking at clubs. I've said no for a long time, simply because when you're working 7 days a week, 12 to 24 hours a day, depending on the day, which is what I was doing for the first, 5 years that this business existed. it's really hard to get away and speak. I did it, once, maybe twice, but it was difficult to do. So now we're at the point where we still often work fairly long days, but everyone gets at least 2 days off. Well, in theory, sometimes I, do some ordering and stuff at home on the weekends, or come by just to check and make sure tanks aren't overflowing, that kind of thing. But in general, we get 2 days off now, which is amazing. And we have enough help that that I can actually go speak. So I would love to. I really enjoy being out there and meeting other fish nerds, and something I love to do while I'm speaking is spend a couple extra days if I can and visit fish rooms, visit local fish stores, go collecting, that kind of thing. I love doing that. Okay, let's see. The next one I can see is Jody P. Do you think you'd go to Aquashella Daytona in November? No, right now I kind of have a rule that I don't go places unless I'm speaking there. Right now we're still growing rapidly. We still are at the point in the business where it doesn't make sense for me to go do things just for funsies, really. And it doesn't make sense for me to pay a bunch to go somewhere. So my rule right now is if I'm invited to speak or present at an event, then if I can, if the schedule works, then I'll say yes. But right now that's how it is. Eventually, that'll change, but I can't justify doing that with the business right now. Like, I would rather take that money and, I don't know, give the employees a bonus, or give someone a pay raise, or get a piece of equipment that helps us be more efficient, or any of those things that a business requires. At this stage, there's just not. We're still growing, and we're still scaling up. Yeah. Connor, when will you have blue glares available? Very soon. So they're through their treatments, and they're. I want to give them a week or two to kind of make sure they've fully recovered after all the medications. They're eating really well. I fed them, when I was feeding them today, I watched them really closely, and they ate a ton. They're doing fantastic. So my hope is, barring any unforeseeable catastrophe, that I'll have blue galaris from the Warri location, W-A-R-R-I if you're curious, available in a week or two. If you were local, and I didn't have to ship them, I'd probably be comfortable sending them right now. But when I have to ship the fish, I want to take a little extra time. Sid Miller, missed a couple streams because I've been starting work at the LFS online store. That's pretty exciting. Super excited and helping them become the Aussie. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Sid. That's fun. Hopefully there's a culture that's good, and hopefully they operate in a way that makes you feel proud to be there. If that's the case, then congrats. I'm happy for you. Short one, aquarist. Hello, I want to add a second heater to my 55-gallon aquarium. The one I have currently is set to 78 degrees. What should I set the second heater at? The aquarium is in my basement. Okay. So I would just set it, I don't know what the differential is on your heater or the new heater. So there's often a differential. So if you set it at 78 degrees, it might kick on at 76 and kick off at 80 or something like that. So I would set your backup heater like 2 degrees below the bottom differential of your current heater. I didn't explain that quite right. I would have a gap between the two heaters' differentials of 2 degrees, something like that. That way you don't have them both kicking on and have problems that way. And that would mean that if the 78-degree heater went kaput, did not heat, that your temperature would drop, but it wouldn't drop so much that it would kill the fish. It might drop at the lowest differential of that second heater. It'd probably be around, I'm thinking probably around 74 degrees or so, maybe 72, which still isn't gonna, kill your fish. So That's what I would suggest. Now, if the 78-degree heater or the other one fails in the on position, then you can overheat an aquarium. And the only solution for that is to have a separate thermostat. So you plug the heater into that, and that thermostat has a temperature probe that goes into your aquarium. And that thermostat is set such that if the aquarium, let's say you have 78 degrees, your differential's up to 80. If it hit 81 degrees, then it would shut that off. Or you could even keep it at 78, I suppose. So the fail-safe for a heater locking on is different than a heater that fails to heat, if that makes sense. So hopefully that was helpful, short one. Just not having overlapping differentials, I think, would help. Thanks for the help with the move. I'm so sorry you hurt your back. It wasn't your fault, Rob. It was not your fault. That was all me. I just, it's been so long since I've had a back issue that, I didn't even think about doing the stretching and lifting correctly and stuff. That's a me problem. Big Steve's glass boxes. My dwarf red-tailed eels may have had a baby. Oh my gosh, they're in a tank 3/4 full of subwasser tanks, so hard to count. But now there's one way smaller than the others. Pretty sure one must have made it. Oh, Big Steve, that would be amazing if they're breeding for you. Holy cow. Oh, if we could crack that code and breed those locally, that would be great. Congrats. Go with the flow aquatics. How many fish are you looking for in one order? 30, 50, 100? Depends on the fish and its value. So here's how it works. An aquarium takes up a certain amount of real estate here in the fish warehouse. Every aquarium needs to pay its rent. So if you have a super rare fish that's worth, I don't know, what's the most, right now the most expensive fish we sell is the Corridor's, quote, Vulcan, the CW111. Those are $500 a piece. It doesn't take a lot of those to have enough dollar amount in the tank for the tank to pay its rent. But let's say we have, I don't know, for easy math, 10 of them, then we're talking about, what's that? That's $5,000, right? Easily pays its rent. There's enough value of fish, dollar value of fish in that tank to justify that space used for those fish. Now let's say that I am doing, I don't know, white clouds, and I sell a standard white cloud for, I don't know, $5.90. Now let's call it $6. And we have 10 of those. Well, in that aquarium, there would be only $60 worth of fish. So that is not enough to pay that tank's rent. I would want to have a couple hundred in there to pay that tank's rent. So that's the way it works. Generally, provided these are, fairly small, peaceful community fish, I like to buy fish in the, I don't know, $50 to $200 quantity. So when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, here's what I do. I look at how many fish sold in the last 30 days, and I order twice that many. Because we're growing, so we want to have twice as many so we don't run out, but we don't want to buy 10 times as many because then we overbought, and that hurts. On a business, cash flow is very important. If you have too much cash tied up in inventory that is not selling, that hurts you. Then you don't have enough cash free to invest in the company, to do things to improve the company, or to buy inventory that will move quickly. So my rule of thumb is I tend to buy twice whatever sold in the last 30 days. Unless it's something that I'm like, I've never had that before, so I don't have data. I don't know how well it's going to sell, but I'm very excited about it. And I think other people are too. I'll buy a lot of them. So, I do take some risks, but that's the way I manage the inventory. I buy twice as many as sold in the last 30 days. That's how many I like to keep available, if possible. Sid Miller, do you know much about Capella species? A little bit, We got some mystery Capellas in with some wild-caught Rio Mete tetras, and no one can seem to ID them. Sid, if you send us a picture to hello@dansfish.com, that's HELLO@dansfish.com, we'll do our best. We've kept 3 or 4 species of different, splash tetras. I have that in quotes because some Capella species are actually not splash tetras. They used to be kind of called that. There's a few really closely related genuses there. But yeah, if you have some splash tetras, I can try my best. Especially if you can. You said they came from Rio Mete. We might be able to find that out right now. If we know they're from the Rio Mete, do you know that? Or did they just come with Rio Mete tetras? If we know the collection location of the fish they were contaminants with, then that would be very helpful. Which would be Rio Mete. So, right? Rio Mete Capella species. Capella mete is a species of fish found in the upper Orinoco. Is it really small? These guys stay pretty small. Let's see here. I don't know. This is a long shot, but does it look like that? Capella mete? That would be a place to start anyway. Now, I'd have to get on a map and ensure that the Rio Mete is where Capella mete is from and all that. And I don't have time to do that because we're live, but that's where I would start. Cool videos from a cool guy. I've had apples climb out, but not Nerites. Okay, apple snails have climbed out of the aquarium, but not Nerite snails. Good to know. Let's see, does anyone else chime in on that? Just looking to see if other people have had snails crawl out or not. Everyone wants to buy Big Steve's dwarf red-tailed eel. Yeah, they're hard to get. Natalie B says, I lost a red racer Nerite that climbed over the edge and I didn't catch it before it died. Okay, so at least some people have had Nerites crawl out. Anyone else? Sid Miller says, I had no idea we could breed those eels in captivity. Yeah, the ones I get are aquarium bred and raised. So it can be done. Stephen P. 2003, Aquatics, aka not Stefan. Definitely used to have a zebra Nerite snail that I would find sitting on the hang-on back filter lid on a weekly basis. Slip through the gaps of the tank lid too. So he was determined. Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like without a lid, you're walking on the edge maybe with Nerite snails. Good to know, folks. Thanks for letting us know. The Fish Geek, I got some Penthea Gallius from you a while back, and they finally bred. How do I feed the really tiny fry? So the easiest way to do that is probably, I'm going to talk about 2 ways. One is to feed infusoria. If you had rotifers or whatever you're culturing, that would be awesome too. But I doubt that's the case. So in how to make infusoria, I would refer you to Mark's Aquatics on, well, let me show you. On YouTube, Mark's Aquatics. So this guy has done, and I'll link him. Mark has done many videos about breeding different species of fish. And in a few of them, he shows you his process for starting infusoria. So he has tiny little live food on hand. I'm trying to scroll down here and see. On hand for those fish when it's probably on a playlist somewhere. Let's see here. How to breed tiger barbs, how to breed Denver tetras. There's one he did on, I think it was the one he did on neon tetras. Anyway, check out Mark's channel. Wealth of information on breeding egg-laying fish, such as the ones you have, and at least some of the videos show how he cultures infusoria, which is great, I think. And then let's see here. I'm trying to find the video I did a long time ago. Master, maybe? Let's see here. Here it is. Finally found it. So here is a video I will link. It's playing a commercial right now. So I toured a master fish breeder's fish room, and the way he has all kinds of live food and stuff, but one thing he does that I had never seen before to breed little tiny egg layer fry like you have is he would take flake food and crush it up really small. Then he'd put it in a vial of water and shake it really well, and then he would let it sit. And all kind of the flakes, ground up flake powder would fall to the bottom, and what was left in the water after, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, was just this kind of cloudy water with no obvious flake particles in it. And he would pour that kind of cloudy water in, and that's what he would feed his baby tetras and barbs and such. So that worked for him. So those are two ways to do it: culture infusoria or feed the I don't know, flake food juice. So those videos might be helpful to you. Okay, and congrats on breeding them. That's really cool. Why are we always yelling? Just a reminder, put Dan's fish. Yes, we want the bright orange boxes. If you follow Why Are We Always Yelling's advice, bright orange boxes will appear, and I jump from orange box to orange box as I go down the chat. Dragon Layer. The blue spotted sunfish are becoming one of my favorites. They're not shy, always begging at the front of the tank. Yeah, little water puppies once they settle in. Agreed. I also think they're really pretty. Just a really unique little fish. Yeah. Glad you like them. Dwayne, let's see here. I can say that. Sharnek. Can't believe how lucky I got growing out Reonate angels, and the first pair I let breed, first time the parents have done amazing. So first spawn, first parents, and they're doing well. That's awesome. First spawn haven't eaten the fry. Yeah, I wonder if them being a wild type angelfish, if perhaps their breeding instincts are a little stronger, their parental instincts, than some of the more domesticated strains. A lot of the domesticated strains for decades now, they breed the parents and they pull the eggs and artificially incubate the eggs. So you do that for enough generations and they might kind of lose their parental instinct a little bit. So it makes sense to me that a wild type angel would be more likely to be successful at its first spawn. Now, I don't know, I haven't run data on that or anything, but it makes sense. But either way, Dwayne, congrats, that's awesome. Cool videos from a cool guy. Would you lower the price a little? Not looking for quality, just a healthy fish. So we price fish at the price we have to stay in business, and not more, believe it or not. I know we're quite pricey on some of our fish, but the way we operate, we have a lot of expenses, and in order to provide healthy fish, costs a lot of money. So we don't have any room to do discounts, really. The only time we discount is if there's some fish that haven't sold in forevers. It's like, well, now they're not paying their rent anymore. I'd rather mark them down, hopefully sell them, and they'll put something else in the aquarium that we can actually make some money off of. In fact, if you want some glass head standers, if you just pay the shipping, I'll send them to you for free. I've had these things since I opened the warehouse. They were one of the first fish I got. I think they're super awesome. Let me show you these guys. I think they're amazing, but no one buys them. This fish right here, glass head standard. We have had them marked down to $6.99 forever. Haven't been able to move them. Such a unique, neat fish. So if you have a tank and you want a neat inhabitant, I've got, what it says, 16 left. You pay the shipping, I'll send them all to you. That's the deal of the day. I just need that tank back. So that's when we mark fish down. Another time we do it sometimes is if we want to do some of the imports we do, especially, we do them on our own import license. And the minimum number of fish we need to bring in on those can be fairly large. And so sometimes it's like we've got to bring a ton of fish and we just need to clear some space. And so we mark something down for that. But we rarely do. Since we moved in the warehouse, we generally have enough space we can handle, fresh imports without having to do that. So I'm not against sales or anything like that, but I don't think with live animals it's something that is good. And the reason is I don't want to create a sense of urgency for the buyer. That sounds weird. It's like, why not? You would sell more. What I don't want to happen is I don't want the buyer to feel like, oh, it's on sale, I got to get it now. Sale ends Tuesday. I don't want them to think that, because then they might purchase the fish before they even have an aquarium set up and ready for it. And in that case, the odds that the fish has a long, healthy life go down quite a lot, especially if it's someone who isn't experienced in setting up an instant aquarium. I know some of you are like, I know how to do that. Yeah, I know, I do too. But the odds that someone is successful doing that are much less. So I don't want to create a scenario where someone feels like, I got to buy that. I don't know, I'll figure out how to house it later. I just need that now because it's a great deal. So I don't like that with live animals. So what we do, here's the deal with us. We work our tuchuses off to provide you with healthy fish. From the way we source to the fact that we have someone full-time that does nothing but examine fish for health and medicate them as necessary to get them healthy. We have a full-time position, a microbiologist that does that full-time. To how we prepare and ship the fish, individually bagging everyone, even a tiny little chili reservoir gets its own bag. We've made the decision that we're just going to operate in a way that's best for the fish, even if it's more expensive. And the deal with us is if you purchase the fish from us, you know that that's happened, and that the fish are much more likely to get to you having been sourced and treated humanely and in better shape and will thrive for you long term. So that's what we focus on. We don't focus on costs. Some of our fish are straight up ridiculously expensive. Neon tetras are ridiculously expensive. We're 3 times, maybe 4, what you could buy them for in a big box store. But that's how much we have to charge if we're gonna source them responsibly, have them shipped to us in low quantities so they aren't packed in bags so densely that they suffer. Have them properly examined and medicated and shipped and all that. That's just we can't sell fish for less than $6 or $7 or so, or we literally lose money, even if the fish was given to us for free. That's how much back-end expenses there are trying to operate in the way we operate. So we really don't have room for cutting prices or sales. Chat just jumped. I was going to read Mike Casey's comment, and chat said, The next one I can see now is, let's see here. Looking. And a banana. Setting up my next 75-gallon. Oh, I love that. That's a great size aquarium. Planning on honey gouramis, rummy-nosed tetras, amber tetras, or did you mean ember? I don't know. Maybe there's an amber tetra. Looking for schooling fish. Suggestions? Rummy-nose, let's see here. Rummy-nose rasboras don't school really tightly. They're neat, but I wouldn't call them tight schoolers. They kind of shoal. Rummy-nosed tetras, however, tend to be in a tighter group than most other tetras. Ember tetras, I would say those can school around, especially in a larger aquarium. Chili rasboras tend to swim around in big groups. If you have a big space in a decent sized group, rainbow shiners are fun to watch school around. The Pentheagelius, the dwarf golden barb, those guys tend to school. So especially in large spaces. So you have a 75 gallon, so I think that's big enough to see some schooling behavior. CPDs in a 75 gallon will often group up and move around as well. But if you have some of these fish in a smaller tank, they don't tend to school as much. They need that negative space, right? That open space to feel the need to bunch up as they cruise around in it. So those are some thoughts. Let's see here. We have a lampi killifish right now. We don't have a picture of it, but it's on the website. It's, I think if we just search lampi, we'll find it. Yeah, the neon green lampi killi. Those school really nicely. They're very similar to like a Poropanchax normani. What else do we have that schools really tightly? I mean, those are the ones that pop in my mind. The voodoo cow. Have you had any success breeding autosynclus in the honey blue eye rainbow fishes? So what tips do you have? I've never tried to breed autosynclus. Every now and then a baby will show up, but I don't know what happened to make that happen. The Pseudomugil mellis, the honey blue-eyed rainbow fish, yeah, those are spawning for us. We put a spawning mop in the tank and collect some eggs every now and then. Pseudomugils generally are quite easy to breed, and the good news is about most of them is the eggs are actually larger than the large rainbow fish species like the Melanitania and such. And so most of the Pseudomugil species, the babies hatch large enough to eat baby brine shrimp right away, whereas a lot of your Chilothrina or Melanitania or Glossolepis and such, those babies are itty bitty tiny, and you have to feed with infusoria or finely powdered, like 5 to 50 micron golden pearls, that kind of thing, to kind of get them going. So I think honey blue eyes, let's see here. How big are the fry? Do I know this? Johnny, were your fry big enough that they could eat baby brine shrimp right away? Because if so, that makes them really easy to raise. But really just bare tank, sponge filter, and a mop made out of acrylic yarn is all you need to breed the Pseudomugil mellis. Spinster sister, anyone here that bought mellis from us previously? Are you breeding them? And if so, what's been the, what advice would you have to someone who's wondering? My Apisto Banshai female has blocked the doors of 2 caves and is hiding. That's good news. Can she be incubating 2 clutches? I have 11 babies from her first batch swimming around on their own. I would be surprised if she laid in 2 separate caves. So I don't think so. But, you know, fish never cease to surprise me, so it's possible. I think it's more likely that she's going to use one of those as like a nursery once the fry are hatched. Sometimes they'll move the fry around. Kurt Brutin, what is your favorite shrimp that you breed in-house? The cardinal shrimp, without a doubt. I love these guys. These guys are absolutely amazing. I wish I had better pictures. Red with white spots and little white socks that are constantly moving. I think these are my favorite shrimp ever. Part of it is it took me years to finally source some that were healthy and stuff and be able to start breeding them. So part of it's just the satisfaction of, you know, finally getting a hold of them and being successful with them. But I also think they're just beautiful. Those things used to be like $100 a piece. They were crazy expensive back in the day. Thrown Stone. I made a huge mistake and double ordered over the weekend. The response from you guys Monday morning was so quick and amazing. Just want to say thanks again. No worries, Thrown Stone. You're not the only one. that happens more frequently than you might suspect, and we're happy to be like, yeah, we get it. Here's your money back. No problem whatsoever. Yeah, Johnny's on it. Let's see here. Short one says, thank you. It was very helpful. Well, glad I did something right. KG says, how much should I sell a fish for to an LFS? Say the value of the fish is $10. How much should I sell it to a fish store? I don't know. Each business has different business models, different margins, different things they can do, different experiences. Maybe someone has great experience with local breeders and is like, yeah, I'll take them all. And others are like, yeah, we tried that. We just don't want to deal with that anymore. So I don't know what they'll do. We pay 25% of the landed cost. So if it costs us $10 to buy the fish from you and get it here, then we will sell that fish for, you know, I don't know, $40 or something like that. Well, that's not true. On more expensive fish, we often don't mark up as much. So let's say it's at $2 to get it here. We would sell it for $8. So that's our markup. Some stores have a lower markup, you know, 3x is often what I saw when at a lot of stores I worked at growing up. But then again, those stores went out of business. So, you know, I'm not sure how sustainable that is. So it totally depends on them, their margins and all that. Some stores won't pay you money. They'll just give you store credit because they then get more fish for less dollars in the end, and it helps them out. So I would just visit them and see what they want. But when I visited them, I would have a list of the fish you have available, their quantity and their size. And you might have what you would like to get paid there. But maybe, I mean, that when I'm dealing with someone, it's nice if they say, this is how much I would like. Because then I know if we're even in the same ballpark. But if you show up with a professional list, you're organized, you say, hey, I breed fish, this is what I have right now, this is the sizes and the amounts, this is what I'd like to get for them, and just see how the discussion goes, then that might be a good way to start that. But every store is very different. Neo Veritas, how did the barbecue go? It was so fun. I had a blast. I ate a lot of food. I hung out with a lot of fish nerds. Found some breeders that hopefully I can source fish from regularly in the future as we move on. And yeah, I don't know. And the weather was amazing. The high was 79 one day and 80 the other day. It was perfect. This week it got up in the hundreds. And there's fires here locally, so it's been hot and smoky. So I'm glad it wasn't this week. That's for sure. But it went well enough that I'm planning on doing it again next year. Joyce Brown, definitely get a lid for Nerites. I had 3 one night vacate the tank. Lid went on the next day. Okay. Yep. Sounds like that's the thing to do. Sounds like it's been confirmed enough. Keeping Fish Simple also has great info on culture and infusoria. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, that's another great channel. I like that guy. I think he's an upbeat guy that does a good job on his videos. So yeah, Keeping Fish Simple, good one to watch. Kevin Crowley, just got my first shipment from you guys and all the fish are super healthy and happy. CPDs and a pea puffer. Thanks again. We'll be ordering again soon. Well, Kevin, that's the response we try to elicit every time we send out an order. So I'm glad it worked. All right, what we want to delight the customer. Now, every now and then we're human, and every now and then we screw up. Every now and then also we do things we think perfectly, but something happens in transit or whatever, and we just couldn't foresee. So there are those tiny edge cases, but in general, I think we succeed at, we want the customer to open that box and be delighted, be happy that they made that purchase, and be excited about their future with these fish because they see the potential of the fish to live and have a good future. As opposed to, there's been plenty of times as a hobbyist, I've opened boxes and been like, dread just hits me. I see that and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to make it. maybe it'll make it, but it's going to take so much time and money and work to medicate them and get them healthy. So we're trying to take the guilt away. We source very humanely and treat the fish very humanely. So if you buy from us, I don't think you have to feel guilty at all that you're purchasing fish. We aren't the typical supply chain, cram them all in, treat them like a commodity, half of them die. You know, we're not doing that. Half of them arrive dead, like down the chain. So guilt-free and open the box and be delighted with what you see. That's what we're trying to do. Dwayne Sharnack, never looked at it like that with being wild type angels. 10 points on nailing my surname. Hey, Sharnack. No worries, I totally understand. Just wanted to ask, says cool guy. I'll take them. Who's that? Nathan? I'll take some glass head sand. Okay, send us an email, hello@dancefish.com. First person to do that, I'll send them to you. I'll just get a shipping quote together. And thank you. You'd be doing me a favor. I can't believe it. That fish is so cool. It is a bit nippy, though. It can tend to eat scales and stuff. But if they're fed well, then yeah. Stephen, label them glass head standers. Totally don't eat scales. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I should mention that. So here, I'm going to change this slightly because I want to make sure that you heard that you know that about this fish. The first person email us and say, hey, I want them. Here's my address. And I understand they are scale eaters. That's who I'll send them to. Because I don't want someone to get them, put them in with their, you know, nice long finned guppies and have them torn up. All right. And I actually really like that fish. There's weird things where I'll find something and be like, oh, that's awesome. I can finally get those in. People are going to love them. And I love them and no one else does. And with that fish, I understand. It's kind of specialized. You can't keep it with everything. We kept them with pinktail chalceus and they did just fine. We kept them with tropheus and they did just fine, believe it or not. So there are some fish you can keep them with, but they aren't your typical, you know, keep them with anything type fish. That's true. Okay. Okay, someone says my 3 red onion snails, 3 red cherry shrimp, and 4 stir-bite cories are all doing fantastic. Awesome, Tuxedo. Those stir-bite, the group of stir-bite cories we have right now, I think are top shelf. They're fat, they're sassy, they've been doing well for a long time. And we're not losing any or anything like that. And we haven't for, that batch has been rock solid, I think from the beginning. So if we have had some trouble with stir-bite in the past. So I guess what I would say is, if you've tried stir-bite from us before and had trouble, I think this batch is worth trying again. We would have refunded your money and your shipping and everything and taken care of you. So I think we'd start, you know, at square one. But if you like stir-bite and have trouble getting good ones, I think this is a good batch. Well, I know this is a good batch. We've sold, okay, let me look real quick. We sold a ton of them, hundreds and hundreds of them. I think I started with something like 700. And, oops, that's photos. Let me just see here. I'm going to check the log here, the shipping report log. And I'm going to look for stir-bite. And I bet over the last couple months there haven't been a problem with stir-bite. But I want to just verify that because I'm making big claims right now. Okay, so okay, here we go. So I'll go 2 months. It's 710. I'll go to 510. Okay, 1 stir-bite cory the week of 5/13 arrived well and then died overnight. Sorry, I'm reading the sheet on the phone here. And that's it. So one out of, I don't know how many hundreds we've sold from that group, but yeah, one. So I think it's a really good batch. And if you had an experience where yours died and I missed it, then feel free to shout that out so we have an accurate count. But the point is, they're doing awesome. Tanya H, any update on getting Kubutai reservoirs? I want to order those with my chilies and autos. Tanya, that's one we've been working on. We're having some trouble with them. So we have a batch that we finally got healthy enough to sell some. And we've got 2 more batches and we're trying some different things. I think we probably are going to be successful this time around, more so than we were last time. In the past, it's taken a long time to get them healthy. There's been heavier losses than I would want. And so we're just trying different things to try to crack the code on those. So that's a way of saying, I think we're working through it, and it's hard to give you an exact timeline. But I would hope that within about 2 weeks, we would have some available for you. I don't know for sure. Again, we're working on that fish. So here's the fish. We're working on all the fish, but we've made great strides on guppies and live bears in general. They're doing better and better. In fact, we've made a few breakthroughs recently, and I think they're going to be even better. So working on those. I think they're as good as it gets, but there's still some room for improvement on making sure they're healthy and getting them healthy quicker. Corydoras. Really hard to get Corydoras healthy in this industry. And we've been working through that, and I think we've figured some things out. We've made great strides there. CPDs, not neon tetras, those are tough as nails. Cardinal tetras, rummy nose tetras, Kubutai rasboras, clown killies. Those are all fish that are frequently available, but I have a hard time, and I think most hobbyists do as well, finding healthy ones and that'll live long term. So we are cracking the code as we can. The one we've really turned our attention to now is those neon green Kubutai rasboras. I would love to figure out axelrod eye rasboras as well. We had success. We thought we'd figured it out. We found a protozoan that they come in with, and we started treating that right away when they first got here and had great luck. And then the next time we tried, we did the same thing, same issue, and they didn't make it. So that's one where we're still working those out. So there's some fish that it's so hard to find healthy ones in the industry, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. But it's baby steps. We have to do it from the ground up. We have to try this process or this medicine or this procedure or whatever and see, hey, did that work? Oh, that didn't work. We can diagnose them. We can open the fish up, dissect it, examine it under the microscope, and diagnose most of the things. We have 2 veterinarians actually that we can work with that can help if we can't figure something out. We just got we sent a batch last week and got some helpful information. Really grateful to you if you're watching. You know who you are. If you're watching, thank you. Really appreciate you. And then there's also labs that we can, figure stuff out with. So we can often figure out what's wrong, but figuring out the best way to deal with what's wrong can sometimes be a process. So we work at it all the time. Mel Wool, the way you treat the fish is so worth the extra money. All places should operate the way you do. I think they will. Our mission is to change the industry in that direction. And as we grow and scale, and if we can keep the quality up while we do that, and so far we're doing a good job. If we never lose sight of that quality and that, as we scale, we'll become a forcing function. we'll get to the point where that's what people start expecting, and folks that don't operate that way simply will have a hard time staying in business because people will be like, why would I buy there? So that's the goal of the company. The goal isn't sell a bunch of fish and get rich. Like that that'd be very nice. I don't think it's in the cards. I'd like to make a decent living one day. We're not quite there yet. And the goal isn't, sell fish online. There's plenty of places that do that. The goal is literally to change the aquarium industry for the better and be a forcing function so others do that too. Whether they follow our processes or develop their own, I don't care. I just want the fish to be humanely treated and to get to the customer in good shape. I think that should be the bottom expectation. And right now, it's the top expectation. It makes it really easy to shine. It makes it really easy to set yourself apart. If you want to do aquarium fish, there's a big opportunity, because if you do it so the people get healthy fish that thrive long term, that itself will set you apart. And also, it's really motivating, right? It makes you feel good when you make progress, when you figure out a species and you're able to get them healthy and source them better and all that stuff. So not only, I think, will it change the industry over time, that's the goal, but I also think it makes it really rewarding to work at a place like that. So that's why I was hoping that I don't know if it's a lady, that the, what would we call this? A viewer, participant, who chimed in earlier about just got a job at an online fish store. I think that's awesome if they operate in a way that makes you feel motivated to be there. Lots of places just don't. So, yeah, I think it will eventually be that way. And also, here's another issue. So, as you see a trend with the ethics and morals around keeping animals, how they should be treated, right? The first thing that animal rights activists and others push for is treatment, proper treatment of like dogs and cats and horses, stuff that we are warm and fuzzy, that we hug and cuddle and have, that kind of relationship with. And then it kind of drops down into like birds and rodents and stuff like that. And then eventually it gets to like lizards and reptiles. And then it finally gets to fish. Fish are often seen as ornaments. They're decorations. You have an aquarium, which is a piece of furniture in your house, and the fish are the decorations on the furniture, in the furniture, right? It's kind of a mindset that is pretty prevalent. But eventually that changes, right? And people start caring about fish as animals that deserve good care and respect. Not that there hasn't always been people that do that, I'm sure there have, but the majority kind of shifted. The acceptable ethics and kind of morals around keeping fish is changing in that direction. We see protests at Petco's, for example, about how they keep their bettas. That never happened before. So as that happens more and more, if the industry doesn't improve itself, then my fear is that enough lobbyists will influence politicians that laws will be passed that make it very difficult to keep fish, if not impossible. If we don't regulate ourselves, we give a lot of ammunition to folks that want to shut down fish keeping for good, or animal keeping. There are people out there that think it's immoral to keep any animal ever, and would like to just shut that all down. And the way the industry operates now gives them a lot of ammunition. So we need to improve that. If we don't, it's an existential threat. If we don't, for the hobby, maybe not for humanity, but for fish keepers, it's a real thing that could happen. Just like when the Lacey Act thing was, whatever the addition to that was coming down. It was like, oh man, this could really affect our ability. If this passes, if this becomes law, this could really affect our ability to keep fish as fish hobbyists, or the different white lists that have been proposed and some have passed. So Some have become law in Maine for sure. I think there was a white list that was recently proposed in Florida, was it, of all places? It didn't make it, but if it did, and it could, and if the industry doesn't behave, we give more reasons for that kind of thing to happen. So I don't think it's just about, I think it's bigger than any one business. I think that the hobby itself could collapse if regulations passed, that regulation could be totally justified if we don't make our improvements ourselves. So the goal is, let's improve the industry ourselves so that we can say, I know there's some people who don't think we should keep animals ever, but here's how we're doing it. This is humane. The fish are treated well. They get to the customers in good shape, you know, all that. And right now the industry at large cannot say that. So that's our goal, to make that what the industry at large can claim honestly. Sorry I got on that soapbox. I'm pretty passionate about that. It's what drives me every day. So yeah, I think about it all the time. Best way to re-kickstart Neocaridina shrimp breeding. My population dwindled recently. Andrew, mine did too, and I don't know why. So our cherry shrimp populations just kind of stopped producing. Our blue dream shrimp populations kind of stopped producing. And I have no clue why. They're in the same tanks. They're getting the same foods. It's just, and we've had many, many, many generations over the years. I don't know. I have no clue. So I can't help you there. I am experiencing the same issue myself. So if you come up with a solution, let me know. Hey Dan, it's my first time trying to breed corridors for profit and wanted to know what you feel I should start with. Well, if you've never bred corys before, I would try a really easy one. Just get your feet wet. I would try Corridors paleatus. I would try Corridors aeneas, maybe the albino aeneas or something. I would do that just to get your feet wet. And as you got some experience, ultimately what I would love to be able to buy domestically in quantity are Corridors equus, CW111, geez, almost any Cory, but Equus and 111 are ones that I would love to be able to buy in quantity domestically, and you know, at a price point that the market can sustain. That's what I would like to do. Now that being said, we can never get enough right now. We can't get enough hobbyist bred orange Venezuelan Corys, Sturbai Corys, Pygmy Corys, Habrosus astatus, any of those would be fantastic. What else is a big seller for us? Panda Corys. Corridors Concolor is one that people want and is in short supply. I mean, off the top of my head, those are some, but I would start with the easiest of the easiest to get your feet wet and get some experience and stuff. Okay, I think we've kind of reached, yeah, I took so much time ranting about what I'm passionate about, which is improving the aquarium fish industry, that I hate all the time. Well, we got a little more time, but I do want to do the giveaway now, so that can kind of simmer and get finalized while I answer a question or two more. So the giveaway, for those that don't know, is for some red Nerite snails, red onions, and there are what, 203 folks who have entered, and the winner is James Espinal. James Espinal, congratulations. You have 2 minutes to leave a comment in the chat. I'll set that timer right now. 2 minutes. And you have 2 minutes to chime in, leave something in the chat, say hello or yay, I won or something, but you have to leave a comment in the chat because you do have to be present to win. If you do that in the next 2 minutes, great. If you don't, you forfeit your winnings and we will draw someone else. While we are waiting for that to play out, I'll get to the next question that I can see. We kind of jumped to the bottom. Nathan says salt and pepper cories, that's Paleotis, are super easy. Yeah. You're not going to get a lot for Aeneas and Paleotis when you go to sell them, but you'll learn. You'll learn. Tuxedo Pitbull's question: my mystery snails are mating. How long before I find an egg clutch? You know, I don't know. I've never timed that out. I can't tell you. I just know that with those types of snails, I see egg cases all the time, but I don't know what the timeline is between mating and laying. I would assume it has to do with temperature. Big Steve's, I know opening a box from Dance Fish is one of my favorite things in the world. Yeah, it should be like Christmas. That's what we want. Christmas time. I learned that Nerites spawn larvae that has a plankton stage. Yep, those little eggs on the glass have like 100 babies each. Tiny, tiny little, what do they call them? I call them larvae, but there's another word for them. Still can't find anything about what salinity level they need. Yeah, I'm not sure either, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, there's a saltwater stage. Ooh, excuse me. Jack says, what size would my CPD fry be able to go in with the adults? My current fry are about 1/3 the size of the adults. Personally, I'd go when they're about half size. So with CPDs, the males get territorial. Now, if you have a big group, that's fine. But if you only had like a few males in there, and then you add a bunch of small fish, they might be a little territorial. So I'd feel safer if it's half the size and you add a big group at a time. But you could run an experiment. You know, you could take 6 of them at the current size, put them in, and just see what happens. Without having run an experiment, about half size for me. Thinking about getting a rainbow Stiphodon for my 20 long. Any tips on care? Yeah, the main thing with Stiphodons is make sure that the tank is nice and mature. I wouldn't put them in a new tank. I put them in a tank that's been running for 6 months or more and has good biofilm all over all the surfaces, has good surface area, rock work or something that adds to the surface area. They like to perch up high on rocks. They like to all day just go around and like scrape stuff off of rocks or glass or wood or whatever. But lots of surface area in a well-established aquarium that's been going for a long time would be my advice. That way, between feedings, they have biofilm and algae and little stuff to scrape and eat and fill their belly with. Stiphodons need to eat pretty much continually during the day. They eat small amounts all day long. That's what they do. And so if there isn't stuff for them to graze on between feedings, it can be a problem. So that'd be my biggest advice. Also, they're escape artists. Make sure that you have a tight covering for the tank and that any holes you have drilled for a sump or whatever, or hang-on backs or any of that, that all the entrances are sufficiently sealed up. You can use like a real coarse sponge or something to do that and still have water flow. But they will get out of tiny little gaps and they can climb out of the water. So that's all stuff to keep in mind with Stiphodons. James has chimed in. Woohoo! Yes, I'm here. All right, James. Congratulations on winning some Nerite snails. Please send us an email to hello@dancefish.com. That's HELLO@dancefish.com. We need your first name, your last name, and your mailing address. And once we get that email, we will get back to you and schedule a time to ship out your snails. All right, with that, it's 8:31. We're a minute over time. Ah! Okay, bye. No, I'm joking. We'll do our sign off. I want to start by thanking our moderators for being here every week and volunteering their time and expertise to make the chat run smoothly. I truly appreciate you. I'd like to thank the members of the channel and anyone that threw money at us. I'm grateful for that kind of support. Thanks so much. See, where am I? Oh yeah, if you were active in the chat, thanks for participating. If you were not active in the chat, I still love you. All hail the Lurker Nation. If you're watching the replay, hello from the past. And if you are listening to the podcast, thanks for listening. If you are in Georgia, I hope to see you in Atlanta, at the Atlanta Area Aquarium, is it Society, I think is the name of it? This weekend. I'll be there speaking on Saturday. If you're going to the American Cichlid Association's convention I think it's in Cincinnati, or maybe just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. I'll be speaking there the following weekend. Hope to see you there. And if you are in the Seattle area, I'll be speaking at the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society on September 14th. Like to meet you if I can. Anyway, hope you have a wonderful week. I plan to be back next Wednesday. I have a short turnaround where I have to be on a plane super early Thursday morning and all that. So I think I'll be back next Wednesday, though. It might be a little shorter, but I plan to be here for at least half an hour, or something like that. So see you then. Till then, have a good one. Bye-bye.